Newsfirst Newsline with Faraz Shaukat Ali.
Good morning and a very warm welcome to Newsline, live from the Newsfirst studios in Dawson Street in Colombo. And this morning, joining me is my colleague Bandula Jayasekara. Good morning, Bandula.
Morning, Shaukat.
We thought we'd change the format slightly. Once every 10 days or thereabouts, 3 times a month at least, Bandula and I will be having a little discussion on matters that are close to your hearts and your minds. So, if you have a subject that you'd like to us to discuss, please send us an email. The details appearing on your screen shortly. Let us know what you'd like us to discuss, what you'd like us to look into, and perhaps who you would like to see on our show. And we will endeavor to bring them here and hold them accountable to you. Bandula, isn't that a wonderful
Yeah, that's true.
idea?
And also for us that, have you noticed the letters we get during for this program?
Yeah.
Now, I'm surprised that it has been addressed to the President, the Prime Minister, and they copy for Pathikada and Newsline.
Wonderful.
So it shows that people need a voice.
They do.
Because they have lots of problems. We are giving them a voice, and we really should, like you said, hold these people responsible and keep pushing. They need
Indeed.
help.
They need help. Actually, they do need help, because once they spend a lifetime trying to get power, and once they have power, they tend to accumulate power, and at that point, they have an innate inability to look behind, to look over their shoulders.
And sometimes they don't want to go to police stations, they want to come to the media and
people
tell their
do, yes.
problems, and they think that justice will be done. Now look
Indeed.
at like our Action TV or Vimarshan, it's bringing results. So
Indeed.
people have faith, like same way like we have discussed Gammadda.
That's right.
Things are happening because of Gammadda.
And the awareness is amazing. So many people who I've met have all of them have spoken about the Gammadda program. And actually, Bandula, when I see these debates about the right to information and amending the constitution and all sorts of things, somebody described it on Face the Nation as these things, he said, for the elite. He said, what about economic change? He said that was what was required, because obviously the people suffering must take precedence over anything and everything else. Don't you agree?
Yeah, I agree. And also I want to share with you, for us, yesterday I went to a bank and to other places. They asked me, can we volunteer? Can we come and work with Gammadda? Because it has really touched their hearts. And they are saying, can we come and help?
Of course you can. Anyone who wishes to help with the Gammadda program, all you have to do is contact Newsfirst, TV1, Sirasa, Shakti TV. Do contact us. The appropriate contacts will come up on your screen shortly. Contact us and you'll be our partners in helping to make economic change to these people who are long suffering.
For us, but you're going to have a problem. If you want to take a walk in Vattala, there's no walking track for us. You can't take a walk.
What is
you
that?
can't go to
What
Vattala
is
and
all
walk.
that? Why remove a walkway?
Yeah, it was done overnight when people were fast asleep. That was removed.
The company that supposedly owns the land have written formally and said that they own the land and that they've got nothing to do with this business.
Destruction.
But, yes, but we had the minister, what's his name now? John Amartunga. He sort of made conflicting statements.
And he continues to make conflicting
Yes, because
statements.
he first said that he had permission and then to remove the walkway.
And he blamed Champika Rana, okay?
Yes.
Next day Champika said, I have nothing to do with it. I'm not going to take responsibility, because he first tried to put the blame on Champika. Champika had nothing to do with it.
So why bring the unrelated minister into the whole
Yeah, so this is what I think. He is exposed, and people in the area, Vattala area, are protesting against him. I think there is something fishy here.
Very fishy.
Yeah. And then yesterday in our news we carried, they are going to spend 80 lakhs on reconstruction of this, and the contractor says that I'm not going to use the old bricks, I'm going to order new bricks, but we want to find out who's going to pay for this.
I think I know the answer.
Who?
The people.
Yeah, so this is, so we should put pressure
the long-suffering
on the government, all the people, that maybe this minister should pay for it.
I think so. I think so. We need to actually, you know, I think in Singapore the people can hold their officials accountable. It's a legal thing. If you're appointed to the job, you've got to deliver. If you don't deliver, you run the risk of being prosecuted.
It doesn't happen in this country. I mean, look how many people have corruption and other charges who have entered parliament.
Well, that's true, but also, Bandula, taking into account the state of the slowness of the judiciary in this country, it's a good job that we can't prosecute or have our politicians prosecuted, because it will only add to the long delay in the court system.
But again, see, after 5 years they get a damn good pension. But whereas others have to work for 55 or 60 years to get a pension, the ordinary people.
But they only work till 3 o'clock.
3 o'clock plus then now the perks, I think one of the newspapers, enhanced perks for MPs back on agenda. So they said we are going to hold back, it's back on agenda.
It's completely at odds with what they are delivering. At the moment, this new government, led by Mr. Wickremesinghe, our dear Prime Minister, have delivered jack. What have they delivered?
It's very interesting. I saw it in one of the newspapers, very interesting letter. I got the last para for us. Says we now have the Maitripala Ranil honeymoon. They don't do their duty methinks, but anyway there is one this I must say is that now I am not afraid to write. I am only afraid going to the market and find prices of vegetables rising by around 10 rupees a week. Please give our members of the parliament 2 duty-free vehicles a year, 50,000 for telephone, a little high. But then again there are the Uttaritara Sabhava, they don't do their duty anyway, so why pay duty? And this is written by, it's very interesting, this reader has said, he's put his name, Reggie Ponnambalam, he has given his email, he has given his mobile number. So he says there is media freedom, we agree. So he has written this to one of the newspapers.
Well, that's true. So let's see what they've delivered. They've delivered to us media freedom.
But for how long?
But for how long? Having delivered media freedom, we had our dear Prime Minister do that to various newspapers and other media institutions in the past. Well, that perhaps, that's his right, I suppose. And it's our right to report and to write and to broadcast what we feel the people want to hear.
Well, he's quiet now. He's gone to China.
He's gone to China, but isn't it amazing? This is the man who led the anti-China call and who was obviously suffering from some sort of syndrome, because he couldn't hack it, could he, that the former president managed to get so much of aid from China. Now, it sounds crazy, Bandula, but I read somewhere that the Prime Minister, the dear Prime Minister, is asking China for $1 billion. Well, that's lovely. But the Chinese government, one of their businesses is the company that's operating this port city project. Well, they're claiming damages for delays of $125 million. So this is a maths lesson, ladies and gentlemen, the viewing public. $1 billion is what he's asking for, minus 125, net 875. So the Prime Minister, to me, it's a bit like, did you ever watch Oliver Twist?
Of course, I've read the book in school. It was
well, so this is what he's doing. He's he's knocked China and attacked this big superpower, and then off he goes, using the help of an agency to achieve this tour, as confirmed by Dr. Harsha De Silva, by the way. And he's gone to China with his hand outstretched and saying, "Please, sir, can I have some more?" Oliver Twist. What do you think?
Or the new twist.
The new twist. That's the new
but
twist.
we as a small country, we are an island nation, we cannot antagonize any country. We need
That's
China,
true.
we need India, we need the US, we need to work with everybody.
Yes, we need
but
an unaligned.
we need our neighbors more.
Indeed.
That's very important.
And as we steam ahead towards the end of May, there's something that's happening which we need the public to become aware of. It's very serious, and that is that the governor of the central bank, who is currently serving out the term, the leftover term of the previous governor, Mr. Cabral, who obviously circumstances beyond his control had to leave that job. So the new governor is only serving that term. That term ends in May. Now, there is a very strong possibility that this governor will have his own new, fresh contract, a new term given to him. And then, of course, it will be very difficult to dislodge him. Now, it's incumbent that we realize that this is the governor who has been overseeing the serious allegations, shall we call them credible allegations, of some wrongdoing at the central bank in terms of the 30-year Treasury bond. Now, we must really, if you feel strongly about this, you need to get hold of an email address of your parliamentarian, or even send it to the presidential office and to the Prime Minister's office.
But for us in this country, nothing would happen. I mean, people ask for a change, things will change. But things haven't. Okay, Mr. Marapanna resigned, but that was due to pressure by the media and others. But what else? Nothing would happen.
But there are very few people of Mr. Marapanna's stature.
Yeah, long ago, I think Gamini Jayasuriya resigned. He opposed the Lanka Accord. He resigned. But after that, nothing will happen. I'm aware, like what I've heard from through diplomatic channels, like if people have any allegations or anything, cannot even enter White House. There's a list. But take our temple trees or other offices, people can enter. So if they have allegations, you cannot enter. You check it out for us with your contacts. But here you can. So they of course they enter parliament. But finally it's the ordinary people who will suffer.
Indeed.
And we will continue to. So what will happen? The media can put pressure. What after that?
Let's see. Let's discuss what after that. After this short break. Do stay tuned to Newsline. We'll be back.
ජීවිතය බලාපොරොත්තු රැකවරණය දැනුම සිනහව ආදරය සියල්ල හමුවන ජීවිතයට ඇස් දෙන අරුණෝදය රැස්වී දෙන ජීවිතය
Newsfirst Newsline with Faraz Shaukat.
Welcome back to Newsline, and this morning it's Bandula and Faraz discussing the issues close to your hearts and minds. Bandula, so
We've got 91 ministers now.
91 in the
91
cabinet.
ministers, 91 ministers now.
Isn't it
91.
awful?
Yeah. And it's increasing, and yesterday, maybe in jest, but Lakshman Kiriyalla was telling Vimal Veeravansa, your friend Vimal Veeravansa,
Indeed,
right?
indeed.
Say, come over, we have more to offer. But he's just 91 and counting.
The insulin injecting, fasting to death Vimal
He's not
Veeravansa.
dead. I mean, your dear Prime Minister, I'm told, gave him a new passport. That was sorted out.
But they get away with the most amazing things.
Yeah, but what happens to the ordinary people? Can they get away with all this? So, what happens to law and order? If they are not following, people will ask, why should we follow?
Indeed. What do you think will happen? Shall we discuss the goings-on of the Rajapaksas?
Yeah.
What do you think? Do you think this government, Mr. Wickramasinghe's really intent, is the intent there to get to the bottom of various allegations of corruption? Or are these merely
the way I see is all these politicians are corrupt. It's very difficult for them. They are also worried. Okay, to point a finger at somebody, just tell me, like what the Bible say, who the hell are they to cast the first stone? They can't, because they're all corrupt. Take the Panama Papers, like you mentioned, that for the last 40 years, these things are coming over the last 40 years.
Yes,
so let's see what happens. Most of these tell me a politician who is not corrupt, who has declared the assets. Can we point one? Can they come to your program and say, look, I'm honest, I've done no harm, I haven't attacked, or I haven't got anybody attacked, or can they say it?
And the other thing I wanted to say, I don't know if, I'm sure it hasn't gone past you, but we had one politician, Sajjan Vaskunawardena, who had a matter against him for not declaring his assets. But I did a bit of research. He's not alone. There was, at the time I did the research, about 46 others. But there were no cases against them.
So there's something wrong. But we would like to invite these people to our program and say to have declared assets, so to come clean.
But also, the other thing is that, with the present system, you can go to Parliament and pay, I think, around 400 or 500 rupees and get the file on any member that your little heart desires. But you'll have to then take it home and read it in the privacy of your study.
Yeah, at least, but
you can't talk about it.
We'll be in the know, so, but...
Yes, but you can't come here and talk about it.
Or we can say, okay, out of 225 MPs, 150 they have declared. So we can say like that, but are we in a position to say that? It's not only, I would say, not only the MPs, but about what people who are holding certain high positions, they also should...
Yes, they seem to be so busy doing their little private businesses and helping to enrich themselves. For example, the Panama Papers. The whole world, almost, has been aroused. Their conscience has been aroused. Governments across the globe, their conscience has, and their interest has been aroused. But take little Sri Lanka. The governor of the central bank he's the leader of the central bank, so therefore it's his responsibility. They have yet to issue a statement on this.
For us, he will not issue a statement.
Really?
He will not issue. I mean, how many things, people, where, I mean, let's be open about it. People are in Parliament, like they all know they have skeletons in their cupboards, so they are scared to come out and they say, okay, now if we lose one day, what will happen to us? That's the way they look at things.
But it's astonishing. I noticed the reaction from all over the world, right, to the Panama Papers. All sorts of reaction. The Australians said they're looking at this very closely because they've got 800 names of their own that they'd like to look into. Mr. Modi, our giant neighbor, has said that he's going to appoint a special multi-talented agency to look into if there are any Indian nationals involved in this. And the list goes on. Only one country thanked the journalists for their work. And in Sri Lanka,
That's Germany, right?
I think that was Germany. In Sri Lanka, we've had very lukewarm, off-the-cuff sort of remarks, which to me is astonishing, because Sri Lanka, this government, came into power on the back of allegations of corruption and fraud. The very things that the Panama Papers are speaking of. How individuals, companies all over the world used offshore companies and secrecy laws around the world to shuffle money around, illegal money. So the proceeds perhaps of drug dealing, prostitution, money laundering, whatever. How they used this shadowy, it's a shadowy world. It's not all illegal, but isn't it astonishing? I find it absolutely astonishing that Sri Lanka hasn't taken a more firm and hardline stance.
It will not happen. Maybe not in your lifetime and my lifetime. It's not going to happen.
Of course, the Sri Lankans are very good at making up excuses. Now they'll say, and I think they've already started saying it, that there is no proper mechanism to hold these people accountable.
Then they'll appoint a committee.
That's all tosh.
It's
because there
committee.
is.
Nothing will happen.
That's right. Mr. Wickramasinghe loves his committees. But, you know, and I'm sorry that I keep saying that it's his responsibility.
I don't think it's only Mr. Wickramasinghe.
No, but he's the leader.
Even though you like to punch him, it's not only him.
No, it's not only him, but he's the
leader.
leader. Indeed they should. You know, they really should. But it's astonishing that we are taking such a lukewarm response. Ravi K, of course, one of our young journalists called him, and he was, it's a good job he had roaming on his phone, called him, and he did speak to us, and he did give us a statement. All very good. But for a country that is corruption always on the mind and always in the news, we should be taking firm action. In the offshore leaks, the previous expose from the ICIJ, there were named Sri Lankan individuals and companies. The central bank did nothing at the time, and I say the central bank because the Exchange Control Department and the monetary monitoring unit is all coming under the central bank.
So that's why it will not happen. Even to FCID went to Dubai 5 times. Somebody said somewhere that business class, they travel business class. What happened? Nothing happened. What happened?
Sometimes I wonder whether you need business class on a 4.5-hour flight.
Yes, but people have traveled, but nothing has happened. So nothing will happen, and so we have to keep on putting pressure. Where you and I, as the media, we can do that. We have to do that, but nothing will happen. We will. Let's live in hope.
There is for example, talking about the slowness of the justice system and corruption and so on. There is a bank in Sri Lanka that there's a matter in court, so we can't say too much about it, but I can tell you what the case is about. If you remember, there was a time when the banks were forced to collect a certain amount of money from us for whatever it was. Anyway, they haven't paid this, and so they ended up in court. It's over 2 billion, and this has been...
It's a private bank.
Yes, it's not a government bank. But so, you know, this is money that they ought to have just deducted it from you and passed it on to the authorities.
But what happens if a small man delays or defaults just for a month? Say even take the electricity bill. If you don't pay for a month, your electricity is cut. That's really what happens.
Right. It's all very.
I think we have to continue to push. I think media takes risks. I mean, you and I have discussed even where there's no justice. I mean, I was not a part of this station, but the attacks on this our station, right? Where's the justice? Where are the perpetrators? Nothing will come out. We are waiting.
There's a viewer who sent this in. He says, regarding the central bank, it is important to assess or watch what he is doing now during his last days, and he says he likes it to his last days of Pompeii. I don't know what
But I thought he went to Yala or Wilpattu.
That's right, and we
right?
did ask the governor of the central bank's office, and we were trying hard to get a response from them as to when the governor was photographed in Katragama and Yala, and he used helicopters and so on. We wanted to know who picked the tab up.
I must try to reach Arjuna Mahinda long ago with
we did.
Another dear friend called Shine Carter. We watched a movie together long time ago.
Perhaps he'll take your call. When you call him, will you ask him who paid the bill?
Yeah, I must. We
because
watched a nice Sinhala movie.
Perhaps you'd ask him whether it was the central bank who paid the bill, whether it was his son-in-law, or whether it was himself. The last two don't really matter, as long as it wasn't the central bank. If his son-in-law wanted to be nice.
But also, let's discuss why we have invited him to join our program. Why is he avoiding? If you are honest and you are sincere, you can answer all these questions.
That's right. We had Minister Kabir Hashim, the Minister of Public Enterprise Development, who came to our network, and he was warmly welcomed by everyone here, all the different, the radio and the other channels.
Kabir spoke very freely.
He spoke freely, and he answered the questions which we wanted him to answer, and it was rather painless, I thought.
Yeah, and why, if you have something to hide, don't you avoid people?
Another viewer was telling me that this matter in court about the bank is not passing on the debit tax which they'd collected. So it's a bit like collecting VAT and not passing it on to the government.
But how come these people are not exposed? How come the court proceedings are not reported? The people have the right to know about these banks. It's not reported. I haven't seen any until you brought this up.
Indeed. Now, Bundler, sometimes...
Somewhere in Fort, I guess. This bank is somewhere in Fort.
Yes, I think we're coming to the end of our time, so we might not be able to... We know the answer, okay, but we can't say it on air, because we are a responsible channel, aren't we, Bundler?
Yeah, but then we are the People's Channel also. People are watching.
Right. Well, if we'll find a way of exposing it. In the meantime, I think we better say thank you for having watched Newsline. Thank you, Bundler, for sharing the last half an hour with me here.
Thank you, Shaukat. I'm sure we are going to meet in Dambulla.
Indeed, we're going to Dambulla. We should bring you some shows from there.
And my dear friend Shaukat will be in a sarong.
Well, we're bringing you the New Year special from Dambulla. We promise it to be a rather colourful affair. In the meantime, thank you for watching Newsline. Take care, have a great day, and God bless.
Newsfirst Newsline with Faraz Ali.